Right, folks, this is a new podcast from the two mites, and I'm going to give you old energy boy, MG, to introduce it.
Yeah, we've edited out all the nonsense from Mike Porky Perry, so it might be a bit shorter than usual.
Ha, 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 ha.
Kamata, kamata, kaora, kaora, kamata, kamata, kaora, kaora, tanugahi, 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 parangawawanga, taruga, harama, 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 hey!
This is Talk Sport Extra Time, and you know what to do. It is that time of the week where I'm delighted to say, for the first time, we welcome Mr. Mike Porky Parry into the studio. Very good morning to you, Mr. Parry.
Yes, good morning, Mike. Good to be here
Very
again.
good.
I'm glad that you're hitting on the big issues in sport, which have arisen
Yes.
over the last few hours.
Exactly.
Wayne Rooney dived,
Yes.
and you'd have to have 10-20 vision. Everybody talks about 20-20 vision, right?
Yeah, that's normally what people say.
I got 20-20 vision and still I'm walking round blind. Who
What's
sang that?
I don't know.
I think that was...
You don't know?
Yeah,
You're singing a song that you don't know who
I think it was
sang
10cc.
Oh, was it?
I got 20-20 vision, but still I'm walking round blind. I'm sure it is.
Might be.
Or it might be Simon and Garfunkel. It was one of the two.
I don't recognise it as
It's
a
one or the
Simon
other.
Garfunkel song. What's 10-20 vision then?
Well, that's like half as good as 20-20 vision.
Oh, okay.
For obvious reasons.
I see, right.
You only got 10 out of 20, not 20 out of 20.
I see.
20-20
That's like one of
vision.
your quiz results.
20-20 vision means that when you go to the opticians and you look through all those glasses and all that kind of stuff, there are certain dots in your eyes.
Where are
which,
your glasses, by the way?
well, I don't wear them in the studio.
Don't you?
Because of the lighting.
Oh, that's the first time I've noticed it.
Is that it? Yeah.
Isn't that
It's-
weird?
No. Is that the first
Well,
time
I'm
you've
sure
noticed
that's
it?
not true. is
No,
it?
no.
Do
I've
you never wear glasses in here?
No, I don't. No.
Isn't that funny? Because we were saying this once before, wasn't it? When,
Yes.
when you had you had sort of a slightly altered looking beard.
Yes.
And when you work with somebody all the time, you see somebody every day.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've never noticed you don't wear glasses.
No,
in the
I
studio.
don't. And the other
How
thing
bizarre.
is, I can read better now without my glasses on.
Can you?
Because I've got trifocals.
Yeah.
And neither of the...
varifocals they're called, aren't they?
Well, they're tri.
Are they?
There's three.
Yeah.
Three different lenses in the same bit of glass. And the problem is that I'm really in between lenses now, and I'm going to have to go and get them sorted
Yeah.
because... For instance, if I watch television,
Yeah.
I'm now using a different third of a lens to the third I used to use.
Well, that's how they work, isn't it? You
And-
kind of look through the bottom
Oh,
to
yeah,
read,
but it's
and
not
you
the
look
same
through the top
anymore.
to-
Yeah, but it's not working.
No.
I feel like the old professor now. You've got to put them on at the end of your nose
Pince-nez.
and look down. And
Well,
all that
maybe you
kind of
need to
stuff.
go for an eye test.
I'm going for an eye
Right.
test, yeah.
Okay.
And get a very expensive pair of glasses, which will
Really?
cost £400.
Why?
Although I'm not sure why people pay that much for glasses now, because I keep seeing adverts and they pay for Specsavers,
Yeah.
59 quid.
Yeah, buy one, get one free.
Yeah, and you get a
but
free
it
pair of
depends-
glasses.
Yeah, but it always depends what you have to do to the glass. The only way
yeah.
you can get cheap glasses like that is if they're not actually having to do anything. Like, for example, neither one of my
Yeah.
eyes is the same.
Right.
My
No,
left
well,
eye,
nobody's eye.
my left
Nobody's
eye
eyes are the
is
same.
much worse than my
In
right eye.
fact, I was in a pound shop the other day buying my, I get all the shower gels in there because they're only £1.
How many shower gels do you buy?
10.
10?
Because you get...
Well, how long does it take you to use up a shower?
Well-
The shower doesn't even work at the moment, does it?
Well, no. The good news is that's been sorted
Oh, is
tomorrow.
it?
That is
Tomorrow?
the wet room is being
Have you
sorted
been to
tomorrow.
B&Q again?
No, I haven't been to B&Q.
Right.
No.
There's a lot of people, professional builders,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
are saying if these characters are telling you to go to B&Q, you've hired some cowboys
Yeah,
here, because
well,
most
yeah.
plumbers would not use stuff that you buy at B&Q.
Okay. The latest problem on the estate...
The estate.
The estate, yeah, is some nutter, right, who nicked a blinking motor scooter,
Right.
was being chased by the cops,
Right.
and in panic drove through the fence.
Really? Is he all right?
I don't know. I don't
care,
care.
do you?
But the fence isn't.
Right.
So I've got to
Maybe he
have
hit one of those speed bumps and took off.
No, I've got to have a fence repaired now because it's ridiculous. It's all happening to me at the
It's
moment.
a very
you know.
high crime area you live in,
It's
isn't
not
it?
a high crime area. It's a very low crime area.
Apparently not.
It's a very low
You
crime
had your
area.
bike stolen from there. Now some
yeah,
bloke
yeah.
has done a header through the fence.
Yes, yeah,
I mean, you know,
yeah.
it sounds very good.
It's ridiculous, you know.
Anyway,
and-
tell me about what your view of Wayne Rooney's penalty situation is.
Well, years ago, I defended Wayne Rooney when he first got to Manchester United, and I said he jumped over Sol Campbell's extended foot,
Yeah.
extended leg,
Yeah.
foot, leg and foot,
Leg
foot on
foot.
the end of the leg.
Yeah, normally
and,
is.
And I defended him then because I was still sort of, burningly proud of him having come from Everton.
Yeah.
And said that, all he was doing was avoiding Sol Campbell taking him down in the area. And
Right.
he won
Well,
a
this is the thing that
penalty.
people are very upset about,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
that Roy Hodgson afterwards on TV, when asked about the
Yeah,
Rooney dive,
yeah.
basically said he was involved in taking evasive action.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
because he's refused to condemn it,
Yeah.
people are getting on Roy Hodgson's back.
Yeah, Roy Hodgson's can't start standing up and condemning and criticising England players that have got to do the business for him.
Surely, as people have pointed out, he's part of the FA's, fair dealing principles and all of that. Cut the cheating out of football and all that.
Yeah, but he was only giving his opinion as a football man. But I think he would have been wiser to have just said, well, you've got to leave that down to the interpretation of the referee, and then you don't undermine the referee.
Surely he'd have been wiser not to take part in punditry while he's the England manager.
I find that odd. I
don't think he should do that.
I find that odd. But the thing is that, you see, it brings us back to the original question about England managers.
Yeah.
What on earth has Roy Hodgson got to do since last November until March the 27th when England play the next game?
Well,
What's he got to do?
He called a sort of a dinner night out, didn't he? Which all got cancelled because everyone said they weren't going to go.
Said they're not coming. I'm sorry, the manager won't let us go. For 2 nights to have a dinner. And what would that achieve anyway? All the boys sitting around at an alcohol-free dinner.
Yeah.
What on earth would that achieve?
I know. Well, a bit of bonding, maybe.
I
know that you can't possibly see any merit whatsoever in any kind of occasion where there's no alcohol involved.
Well, no, that's not true. No, that's very unfair. That's not true. All I'm saying is that the way that people open up to each other is when their lips are loosened a little by an imbibement factor being introduced into the company. You see what I mean?
Yes.
I.e., few glasses.
Yes, exactly.
And that's how it goes. By the way, my paucity of intake on alcohol recently has been very impressive.
So have you not been drinking much lately then?
Not drinking, not a drop over the weekend. Well, I mean, not a real
What about
drop,
when you went to open the pub?
I had about 2 pints of beer and a glass of wine.
That's all?
That's all.
How long were you there?
Hour and a half.
An hour and a half and you had 2 pints and a glass of wine?
Yes, that's right, yeah, because I was mostly singing at the microphone, glad-handing people, saying hello to everybody, top executives from the brewery. I sung When I'm 64
Why?
for the benefit of the crowd, of course.
Well, did they want you to sing?
Yeah, of course they did. Yeah, of course they wanted me to sing.
They wanted you to open the pub and cut the ribbon.
Well, I did that. I cut the ribbon.
Why was there singing involved?
Well, because there was a young lady there who was a singer. She was excellent, actually, and she asked me to join her on stage. So
really?
I did.
So did you join her on stage or did you sing on your own?
No, I sang on my own, but then I got the landlady, who is a Geordie lass by birth, to come on stage with me, and we sung Fog on the Tyne.
Did you?
Yes, which
so she was the singer you were talking about?
Well, no, she was like the landlady. She's the landlady.
So who was the singer that asked you to join her on stage?
I don't know, a young lady who was very good.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know her name.
So what did you sing with her?
I mean, it wasn't Madonna, or anything like that.
So what did you sing with her?
I can't remember now. I accompanied her in something, but I don't know. I'm sure what it was. It was a sort of modern song,
Strangely enough, just before you came in, we got a tweet from someone.
Oh, yes.
Who was there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, what did they say?
And they sent me this.
Yeah.
Feed me, will you still feed me? When I'm 64, ba-boom, boom.
Ah, is that from that night?
No, apparently so.
How do you know? How do you know it
because
was?
there's video of you standing there singing it.
Oh, well, they sent a video.
Yeah, they sent a video.
Oh, I see.
They
That's interesting.
filmed it on their mobile phone.
Yeah,
It didn't sound like there was any musical accompaniment.
Well, there was. And by the way, you stopped that too soon because just as I went, when I'm 64, boom, boom, there was a huge round of applause that broke out.
Well, I didn't hear that. It's not on the. It's not on the piece of video that I've been
must have
sent.
a very poor microphone on his phone. Then it wasn't picking up the sound.
Sounds pretty horrendous.
I don't think so.
Anyway, good time was had by all.
Oh, yes, good times had by all. Yeah. I mean, it's a completely renovated Boozer and
Boozer?
Yeah. And,
is that what you call these places now?
Yeah,
Sorry.
I suppose so, yeah. And it'll be an addition to the town. Now then, getting away from Rooney, what about Lance Armstrong? Is Lance Armstrong now going to appear in court charged with a very serious case of...
Fraud.
No, what's it called when you lie in the witness box?
Oh, perjury.
Perjury.
Well, I mean,
surely.
I find it astonishing that it's taking everyone in America, but I mean, it tells you how bad the situation is there, where the legality there is so complicated because everybody's got lawyers, from here to eternity.
Sure.
I mean, surely it's a pretty simple, straightforward situation.
Well, it's straightforward.
He's defrauded the
US
US Postal Service of all that money, $30 million odd dollars.
The Postal Service? I thought it was an insurance company.
No, but this is the other case. The Postal Service were the people who actually sponsored the team.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And the fact that they gave him all these millions and it was all under false pretenses means that they should be able to get that back.
Yeah.
And this insurance company who were kind of promotional paying him for winning the Tour de France, you'd think they'd be able to get their money, but he's just going, I'm not going to pay it. Well, it's all civil stuff.
Well, he says he hasn't got it, doesn't he?
Well, no, he has got it, because he's got about 100 million, but everybody thinks that it's going to be taken off him. But it's an extraordinary state of affairs.
Well, surely the court's ordered him to pay it. He's got to pay it, hasn't he?
Well, you would have thought so.
Well, I'd have thought so.
It's not that simple.
Certainly would in this country if that was the law. But, as you say, an extraordinary situation that the drugs company, before he admitted it, before he was found to be good, on the strength of one journalist reports, David Walsh of the Sunday Times, because he started writing it. People had more faith in David Walsh than they did in a million drug testers. And the company said, we're not paying you now because we've read from a very respectable journalist in England that you're actually probably taking drugs.
But don't forget that he actually won a libel case against the Sunday Times when David Walsh originally wrote that stuff. Yeah. And he was so brazen about it, he just said,
unbelievable.
Absolutely incredible stuff.
Yeah.
We are the Two Mics. This is Talk Sport. We've got loads to do. The winners and losers coming up. Double rollover a little bit later on with Toby Gillies. Yeah. We've got much, much more to talk about over the Van Hal, who trashed into your estate, getting fed up of your mimicry. So I don't know whether that was the case. And Randall, having seen a video, which I've tweeted out, by the way, at the Two Mics, says it doesn't show people running for the door.
Doesn't show people running for the door. No, it doesn't show people running for the door because people were running in from the door.
Yes.
I had to finish early because of the disruption in the crowd.
The disruption?
Well, people trying to get in to see me.
There's loads of people turn up.
Yeah, loads of people turned up. They were in the streets. They were in the streets.
Really?
They were spilling over off the pavement into the gutters.
Yeah.
It started raining.
There must be pictures of that.
It started raining, so people were trying to surge back into the pub. And you know, people just generally wanted to come and say hello. It's very nice to see you all, and I hope that it has a long and fruitful future.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it will.
That is the old bank
back there
in Sutton there. Yeah, that's good.
Amazing Scotland playing cricket, isn't it? I mean, it's not a country you associate with cricket, really.
Well, I mean, look at Ireland as well. Isn't that a fantastic result
they won
for
the
them?
other day, didn't they?
Of course, they had to beat West Indies. You know, it wasn't the other day; it was yesterday.
Yeah, well, it was the day before yesterday, actually, technically.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, but I mean,
West End is quite happily covered by my moniker the other day. So you're the one.
Well, it's a very loose handle on the fact that you haven't been paying attention over the last couple of days because you've
I've been at home.
You've been at home with your kids and all that, taking them to the cinema. You know, not really concentrating on the job in hand.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Now, the reason
I apologise for taking my son to the cinema.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Why should I not take my son to the cinema?
Well, I don't mind you taking him to the cinema, but I wanted you to watch Shaun the Sheep because I wanted to talk to your son about that.
Yeah, I know. Well, he didn't want to see it.
That's going to be part of my.
He didn't fancy it.
Could form part of my Porky Vision TV review later this week.
You can't do Porky Vision if you haven't seen it.
Well, I can. I can pick up the vibes.
By the way, did you see that show last night, The Casual Vacancy?
Yes.
You've seen it, because I'm interested in that, so I'm looking forward to
Casual
your take on that.
Vacancy, first episode of.
Yeah, second one was last night, I think, wasn't it?
No, it was the first one last night.
First one was Sunday night.
That's what I'm saying.
It's now Tuesday.
Yeah, but it's on every Sunday, isn't it?
Is it?
I think so, isn't it?
Okay. Well, you're the expert.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I know the first one was on Sunday. Maybe it's on every Sunday.
Yeah, I'm sure, it's only 3-parter.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
And I'm sure it's every Sunday.
Okay.
And I also saw the first episode of the big Indian spectacular thing.
Oh, Indian Summers.
Indian Summers, is it?
Well, that's on at the same time.
Yeah.
How did you manage to watch both of them?
Because I skyboxed one.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, my skybox kind of blew up about a week ago and I didn't realise.
Well, again?
No, well, I didn't tell you all the recording things.
Before?
Yeah, well, I fixed it myself.
Did you? I don't believe a word of that.
I did, honestly. I fixed it
You
myself.
could not fix your information device going wrong.
I did.
Well, what did you do to it?
I unplugged everything.
Yeah.
And left it 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I plugged it all back in.
Genius.
And it worked. Honestly.
Well done.
It worked.
Yeah, well, and then it kept all the stuff that was on there.
It did. Yeah. It's called rebooting, you see.
Yeah.
So you have to let the computer
Well,
say
technically,
sometimes.
it's not really fixing it then, is it?
Well, I did. I mean, I didn't have to call up Sky and say, look, I'm a blithering idiot. I don't know what to do. I knew exactly what to do.
Hello, Mr. Parry. See you again. Anyway, sorry. You want to talk about Madonna?
Now, listen, the Madonna thing is, this is so interesting. Radio 1 have banned irrelevant and old Madonna. They've called it irrelevant and old.
What, every single song of hers or just the old ones?
Every single song now. It's just been said that Madonna now is so, uncool that she's no longer fit for Radio 1. And everybody said, this is a huge problem. She's 53, I think, isn't
56,
she?
it says.
56, yeah. So she, she's way past it. But isn't that part of life, Mike? Doesn't she now move on to the playing list on Radio 2?
Yes, I would have thought so.
Where Chris Evans does his breakfast show and all that kind of stuff.
Well, her single is currently now being played on Radio 2, funnily enough,
which
caters for an audience over 35.
Yeah, well, exactly, that's what I'm saying. So that's not a huge problem. The thing is...
Well, bizarrely, though, it says here that Paul McCartney's new single will be played by Radio 1, even though he's 72.
Yes, but he's
not
an
age thing, is it?
He's a former Beatle.
Yeah.
So you have to have huge reverence and respect for Paul McCartney because he's a Beatle.
Well, what about Madonna? I mean, she's had a pretty amazing career, hasn't she?
Well, yeah, but she wasn't a Beatle. She didn't write all these great songs.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is she's not being culled from Radio 1 because of her age.
Well, all I'm saying is that... now, you and I worked in America at the height of her fame in the 80s when she used to literally pose naked in books and send them out to her friends, nude pictures of herself, just to publicise herself. Right. But you, in fact...
she was also, if you remember, when she married Sean Penn,
yes.
do you remember the circus around that wedding? When
Incredible.
They had helicopters up, it was like something out of the last
huge
days
white
of the Vietnam War.
To stop anybody taking pictures.
But there were people up in... I mean, we knew some of the guys that were hiring helicopters,
That's right,
and they were up there filming pictures, and because they were out on the balcony up at Malibu,
that's right,
everything was blowing all over the place, and these helicopters were hovering within sort of 200 feet of the wedding. Absolutely incredible stuff.
It was incredible stuff, and that Sean Penn marriage broke down pretty quick.
Yeah, it didn't last long.
That was when she made that terrible film, Something in Shanghai.
That's right. Yeah.
What's it called?
I can't remember.
Safety in Shanghai.
Wasn't that? No.
Something like that. It was Shanghai Surprise.
Shanghai Surprise.
That's
yeah.
Right.
The surprise was that it wasn't any good. Actually, that wasn't much of a surprise.
But I think I've got to alert the audience to a particularly despicable mission that you went on.
Despicable mission.
It was a despicable mission you went on in pursuit of the Madonna story.
Yes,
I think
true.
you should share this with us.
I
want the audience to know just how... I mean, I'm always accused of being the base tabloid journalist, but what you did was unforgivable.
Well, I did an awful lot of stories on Madonna.
I
did an awful lot of stories on Madonna. In fact, I seem to remember I was up in my ex-wife's parents' house in Connecticut when I got a call one Thanksgiving. You know how big Thanksgiving is as a holiday.
Closes down. Closes down.
And I was supposed to be not working for a couple of days because I was up there. I got a call from the office to say get back into New York because Sean Penn and Madonna have split up and we need you to doorstep their apartment building.
Yeah.
So, I mean, my whole kind of career in New York, to a large extent, was based on that. But the strangest one I did, it's true, and I don't think there's anything particularly despicable about it, was
despicable.
that People magazine had done a big spread on, various stars and their high school yearbooks. In America, everybody's got a high school yearbook. And in her high school yearbook, whatever you call it, the thing that she'd written down was she'd given her love to this guy who was at school with her, who it turned out, subsequently, in the way that they kind of described it, they'd buried it somewhere in the story. He was her first ever boyfriend, effectively. The guy who had taken her virginity.
Yes.
And so one of the papers in London, I think it was the News of the World, said, we want you to go find this guy and interview him. And it turned out he lived somewhere just outside of Detroit. In the boonies. I don't know how I found his address, but I found his address somehow. In fact, when I was telling you the story the other week about the train that took 20 minutes to get past my car, that was when I was on my way to find him. Found his address, and of course he wasn't at home. And it turns out he was a UPS driver, like a truck driver,
brown
and yellow guys, And his wife was there, and I said...
What sort of a house was it?
It was kind of a house, it was bungalow type, he obviously didn't make a lot of money.
With a door that opens outwards and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, a door that opens outwards, and when there was no real pavement to speak of.
Sure,
you
just
kind of,
walk over
scrub,
a bit of grass. Yeah, that's right.
Scrub,
scrub,
and houses on little plots, and I went there, it was about 10 o'clock in the morning or something like that, knocked on the door, got the wife, who was a very attractive young woman, who said, I'm terribly sorry, I said, I'm from...
You tried on with this wife, did you?
No, I did not try on with her at all,
That's your attitude to most women of that sort of
absolutely not. Shocking allegation. I was working,
No, it's not shocking, it's typical.
Anyway, she, as you can imagine, in this tiny little place outside of Flint, Michigan or something, was quite surprised to see a British journalist turning up.
It was just one up from sort of trailer park trash, was it?
Probably, well, that would be unkind, but probably true.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just said, look, I need to talk to your husband. And she's like, well, what's it about? And I said, look, there's nothing to worry about. I said, it's just kind of a strange story that we're doing a bit of background on. And eventually she invited me in for a cup of coffee and she sat me down.
See,
she said,
I told you.
Is there anything I
should
be worried about? And I said, well, no, I don't think so. And I said, do you not really have any clue?
She was probably thinking, hang on, my husband's a UPS driver.
Yeah.
We live in this ramshackle little town.
Yeah.
How could he possibly be involved in anything that's newsworthy to anybody anywhere in the world?
Exactly. And she said, and eventually I just had to say to her, look, it's because, and I showed her the piece from People magazine in the high school yearbook thing, and I said, it's because he's had sex with Madonna. In fact, not only has he had sex with her, but he was her first ever boyfriend. And she thought this was the greatest news that she'd ever heard.
Really?
She was like, oh my God, my husband has had sex with Madonna, and he'd never told her. He had never told her. It was extraordinary. And
that's unbelievable.
So, of course, he came home, and I had to go back later on.
Yeah.
And we had a great night. He told us the whole story. It was all a bit sort of shady. It was all in a car, the back of a car, and all this kind of thing.
In the back of a car?
When he was 17,
So I told you.
There's nothing despicable about it.
Going around talking to a man about having sex with Madonna in the back of a car.
The worst thing was, right, I got this story. I thought this is one of the greatest world exclusives of all time.
Exactly.
Sent it over to London, right? They ran it in the first edition and then kicked it out.
Why?
I don't know. I really don't know.
So it only ever appeared fleetingly?
It only appeared in one edition of the News of the World.
Good God, what a waste.
Extraordinary.
And did this chap know he had made love to Madonna.
Yeah.
I mean, what I'm saying is, could it have been that years later he didn't recognise this woman who was the pop star as being the girl at school?
I know, because we had this great conversation.
Well, how come he'd kept it all to himself then?
Because he thought if he told his wife that she wouldn't like it. He thought that if he told her that would be kind of something bad.
Yeah.
Because, some people don't like to talk about their previous
So he'd hidden the secret all these years.
He'd hidden it, yeah. And they had a great laugh about it.
So he had deflorated one of the world's...
What?
He had deflorated...
I don't think he did that, no.
No, that's what
he
didn't
do that.
Deflorated means taking a woman's virginity.
No, he just had normal sex with her.
He had deflorated one of the world's most famous women and one of the biggest pop stars of all time, but decided not to tell his wife.
I know.
I mean, Jesus Christ. After sorry, excuse that. But what I'm saying is, after your revelation, just think how many beers he'd get bought at his local bar on the back of that one for the rest of his life.
Extraordinary.
Rest of his life.
Look into the light, and you call me despicable. Right, yeah. We are extra time. We are the two mics. There will be a podcast coming out a little bit later on. Thanks everybody for downloading all the podcasts from last week, of course. Now, a couple of things I've got to raise with you, Mr. Parry, before we talk about some of the events of the weekend.
Yes.
It has come to my attention, I tweeted this out a little bit earlier on, that in the wake of your kind of ridiculous, hopeless, useless campaign to free Tommy the Chimp.
That's hopeless and useless, isn't it? Trying to free an animal incarcerated in a cage.
Yeah, well, you lost.
And by the way, what about you and bullying this rabbit over the weekend?
What rabbit? Well, I didn't bully the rabbit. No, I woke up on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And I looked out the window and I saw this more or less motionless rabbit.
Yes.
And I've known a bit about rabbits in the past, so I saw this and I thought,
about rabbits.
I do know a bit about rabbits, and I thought that
can we frame that quote, please? I know a bit about you. Know nothing about rabbits.
That rabbit is not well. That rabbit is not well. There's lots of rabbits around where I live, And you might remember that movie, Local Hero. Do you remember Local Hero? The film that was made up in the north of Scotland about.
Is that about a kestrel?
No, that was Kess.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The title was the clue.
Yeah.
No, Local Hero was the one about the American oil baron who came over to the north of Scotland. He wanted to buy up the whole beach and he wanted to turn it into this whole. It was.
Sounds like Donald Trump and his golf course.
It was a Forsyth film, I think.
Right. Okay.
Anyway, there was this American guy in it who ran over a rabbit on his way there, and all I could think of was his phrase because he kept when he arrives at the hotel, he goes, "I have an injured rabbit also," and they're all like looking at him like, "What's wrong with you?" Yeah. Anyway, the rabbit had. It turned out, I think, myxomatosis. It looked like, that disease that rabbits get, which makes their head all swell up.
Oh, terrible.
And he was just sitting there in a garden. I thought, well, if he sits there, well, first of all, I can't let the dog out, obviously, because the dog would probably bother it.
Savage it, yeah.
So I thought I should probably just move the rabbit somewhere. But, when you've got a diseased animal on your hands,
you want to pick it up.
You don't really want to pick it up.
You could have put rubber gloves on,
I could have put rubber gloves on. But basically, my other half did all that, and we got a box, and she put the thing in the box. And she wouldn't. I said, well, we'll just go and leave him in the woods somewhere, because he's going to die.
Maybe other rabbits will help him.
Well, I don't think the other rabbits are able to help him.
Oh, no, they do. Like elephants help each other when they're ill.
Hey?
Elephants help each other when they're ill. Well, if an elephant's ill, all the other elephants rally round. And
elephants don't get myxomatosis.
No, of course they don't. But they get things like
what do they get? Well, like sore ears.
No, you idiot. They get like arthritis and that sort of stuff. And they have to lie down, and then the other elephants help them get up.
Oh, do they?
Help them get up. Yeah, like a human being would assist somebody to get up off their knees.
Are you sure?
The elephants use their trunks to sort of wrap around the other elephants and pull them up.
That's
they do.
Rubbish.
No, they do.
Well, anyway. So anyway, in the end, the problem with the rabbit situation was that I had to then listen to my children for the next hour saying, we've got to do something about the rabbit, Dad. And I'm like, well, what are we going to do about the rabbit?
Die.
I looked it up on Google. Myxomatosis, basically, they die sometime within 48 hours or 2 weeks.
But you didn't know it had myxomatosis.
Well, I was pretty sure it did because
it could have eaten a bad carrot.
Well, no, its eyes were kind of all swollen and its eyes were shut, and it describes their movement as listless. And and he was just basically sitting there, and I thought, well, the fox is going to eat it. Anything.
So what about the local vet?
Well, in the end, I was forced to ring the RSPCA. Basically, I was kind of conned into it by
So
my
you
kids.
said, I'm not spending any money on this dying rabbit. I'm going to give it to a charity.
Well, you can't
give
that's
a miserable approach to wildlife. Miserable approach.
If you find an injured animal, that's what you're supposed to do, right? So I rang the RSPCA.
I think I'd have left an injured squirrel to its own fate and just rung the RSPCA. No, I wouldn't. I'd just take it to a vet.
Hang on, you haven't heard the end of the story. So I rang the RSPCA and they said you should get in touch with your vet. And we'll look it up for you, what your local vet is. There's always one on duty, apparently, every weekend.
Yeah.
And you basically bleep the vet. And so he rang up and he said, bring the rabbit up to the vet's office. And they basically euthanised it, killed it,
where was that?
executed it, just up the road from where we live.
Oh, okay. So in the end, you had it put down
humanely.
Humanely,
yes.
Humanely. Yeah. Well, I suppose that's the only thing you do in the end.
The last thing he said to me was, we'll do what's necessary.
Yeah, leave it with us.
Yeah.
Rabbit's never been seen since.
No. The worst thing was I tweeted out about it, and almost everyone said, "Oh, great, you can have that for lunch," or they suggested cooking it. And, of course, you can't cook an infected rabbit.
Myxomatosis, of course you can't.
You wouldn't want to do that.
It makes me feel a bit sorrowful.
Yeah.
Don't like to hear sad stories.
Let's get back to Tommy the Chimp, because I'm not going to be derailed by this, right? Because you had this campaign supposedly to free Tommy the Chimp. He's not free. He's still incarcerated. Yeah. It turns out that there's a macaque, which is a different kind of animal, who's being incarcerated at Chester Zoo.
Well, not incarcerated.
Well, of course he is.
No, he's not incarcerated. No.
Is he in captivity or not?
He's in captivity.
Well, why haven't you campaigned to get him out, since Chester is your hometown?
Well, I have a lot to do with Chester Zoo. You know, I did a lot. You know, I used to go there a lot when I was a kid. Fantastic zoo.
Well, I have a lot to do with Regent's Park Zoo. I used to go there a lot.
Yeah. But you know, I have. I don't like to talk about my charitable donations, so I'm not going to say anything more about that.
Well, you give them a lot of money, do you?
I'm not going to say anything about that. Not say anything about that. But what I'm saying is that
there's a double standard at work here.
No, it's not. No. Chester Zoo is one of the leading zoos, not just in this country, but in the world. Right? It has fantastic breeding programs. It is still a zoo, and I think all zoos should be closed,
right? Including Chester Zoo.
Including Chester Zoo.
Right.
Including Chester Zoo.
And the macaque should be freed.
And the macaque should be freed.
Free the macaque.
Free the macaque.
Well, why are you not campaigning for that?
I'll tell you why. The reason I'm not campaigning for it so actively is for two reasons. Firstly, it's got to be a graduated release of the animals, otherwise you just sort of say, right, off you go.
You can't just open the doors and let them run off, can you?
Exactly.
Well, that's what I've said to you about Tommy the Chimp, and you poo-pooed it.
No, because there are facilities to integrate Tommy the Chimp back into a natural habitat in stages across the American continent. No doubt about that at all. But we don't have those facilities here in Britain. We're a much smaller country. But you see, it's a bit like... you know, if you released all the animals from a zoo, it would be like George Bush and Tony Blair invading Iraq.
Why? And why would it be anything like that?
Because all you're looking at is the initial problem. Right, we want to end this. So the Western forces invade Iraq to end the reign of Saddam Hussein. Right. But we're left then with
I think that's the most ridiculous allegory you've ever made.
No,
it's the most ludicrous comparison of all time.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not. We're then left with a shattered and broken country which has now spread chaos all over the Middle East, right? So what I'm saying is, it's exactly the same. If you opened all the zoo gates and let all the animals out, you would spread chaos and disaster all over the north of England if all these animals were running around unprotected, right?
Hang on, I have made these arguments to you many times when you were talking about freeing Tommy the Chimp, and you never ever accepted that my arguments were valid.
I would take them all back to their natural habitats and try and get them integrated back in. You can take animals
back. Where
would
you take Tommy the Chimp to?
Tommy the Chimp?
Yeah.
Well, as I said, there's room on the American continent to integrate Tommy the Chimp.
So you wouldn't take him back to his natural habitat then?
Well, where is his natural habitat?
Well, it's not America, is it?
Well,
chimps are not native to America.
No, but in South America, there's plenty of jungles with monkeys in them.
Are there?
So, yeah.
Well, that's not America, though, is it?
It's the continent. I said the continent of America.
Well, the continent of America and South America are two different continents.
Well, it's north or south. I didn't specify which. So I just said America.
Two different continents.
America is not a continent. America is a landmass, okay?
Is it? Okay.
America, goes right down through Central
America.
Central America.
Does that include Canada?
into South America. We should take these things a bit more seriously sometimes. I'm trying to make a point.
All I want to know, and it's a very simple question, is why, when you've got an imprisoned macaque in your own hometown, you haven't been surely using the same standard as you used about Tommy the Chimp.
I'm using the same standard, but I have to be careful because I have a very close affiliation with the Chester Zoo. By the way, when you put that picture out, to embarrass me on two scores.
Not at all.
Firstly, what are you doing to free the macaque?
Right.
And secondly,
he doesn't have a name, the macaque, does he? He's not called Mike the Macaque or anything.
No, he hasn't. No. He's just Macaco. or something like that. But the other thing is that you definitely hinted that, clearly there's some bloodline from me down to the old macaque
that wasn't
monkey.
My point at all.
Yes, you were.
No, that was not
you were
my
trying
point.
to make fun of me, and as usual, I didn't rise to it. Now, listen, we should be talking about important subjects, by the way.
I know.
Because there's nothing to do about the macaque now.
Well, there is plenty you can do about the macaque. I think you should use your considerable influence to get Chester Zoo to free him.
Right, now,
You've seen the time,
if I could, I would. I've seen the time, but I'm telling you I'm going to talk to you about in a minute.
All right, go on.
Because I halted the shortage of Ferrero Rocher before Christmas when a hazelnut shortage meant that they could have had no chocolates for Christmas, I raised the alarm.
There's been no shortage of Ferrero Rocher.
I raised the alarm. And the world crisis in non-Ferrero Rocher chocolates was aborted due to me.
You mean?
Averted due to me. But I'm going to tell you a very interesting development on that story in just a minute. Oh,
okay.
yes.
FFDU has tweeted at the two mics. He said, I'm just off to the pharmacy to see if any elephants are there sorting out their friends.
Oh, yeah?
Very good. Let's go over
to I didn't mean it like that, did I?
Let's talk about one of your more expert subjects, which is chocolate, of course.
Yeah, having personally intervened to avert the Ferrero, what's it called?
Rocher.
The Ferrero Rocher.
It's Ferrero Rocher.
Ferrero Rocher, you're absolutely right.
It's not Ferrero Rocher.
Yeah.
It's Ferrero Rocher.
Ferrero Rocher, that's right. To avert the crisis, because the hazelnut crop failed last year and did all that, you won't guess what my attention was drawn to over the weekend. The actual man who invented it, Michel Ferrero, has sadly died.
Yeah, well, funnily enough, I tweeted out on that.
Sadly died.
And it was an extraordinary thing, because it wasn't that long ago, just before Christmas, that you were highlighting the, the so-called shortage, which never happened, by the way.
That's right.
People are still sending in pictures of, lorry loads of Ferrero Rocher chocolates all over the place.
Yeah, but they bounced back big because presumably, there was a bit of a problem over Christmas. But I walked into a co-op.
There was no problem over Christmas.
I walked into a co-op the other day and I saw, I can only describe as a mountain of Ferrero Rocher.
Yeah.
Are they particularly popular at Easter, perhaps, as the Easter eggs come round, all that kind of stuff?
Well, they're most popular at Christmas, aren't they?
Well, I suppose so.
Most of them at Christmas.
But anyway, look, that meant that when Mr. Ferrero, who's aged 89, sadly passed away, and God rest his soul.
Yes.
I hope that God is
died on
is
Valentine's Day,
him.
didn't he?
Died on Valentine's Day. Unbelievable. And he was 89. He was the 30th richest man in the world, right?
Yeah.
He was richer in Italy than even Silvio Berlusconi.
The richest man in Italy.
Richest man in Italy. Unbelievable. And a most fantastic guy who, the usual sort of story you hear about great businessmen, took over a very small business from his father, a little cafe making a few chocolate.
Well, hang on, his father created Nutella.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he did. Yeah, but then
he couldn't have had that small of a business.
It was a small business, believe me. Nutella was only used in the village in which he grew up.
Nutella.
Nutella. That's right.
Not Natella.
But guess what else? Guess what else? Mr. Michel Ferrero invented.
What?
The Kinder egg, Kinder Surprise egg.
Yeah.
That's a little egg with a present inside it for children. Toy inside it.
I always thought they were German for some reason.
Well, actually, funny enough, because I read a detailed analysis of this man's life, their biggest market in the world is Germany. Germany take more of the products of Ferrero Rocher, Kinder eggs, and, believe it or not, Tic Tacs.
Tic Tacs,
Invented the Tic Tac.
Yeah, see, that's weird, isn't it? Because that's got nothing to do with chocolate.
It just shows how diverse he was.
Or Nutella.
Yeah.
Do you know why his dad invented Nutella?
Yeah, because he wanted a spread for his butties in his cafe.
No.
Yes, that's true.
Incorrect.
Right, what do you think's the reason?
He invented it during the Second World War because cocoa was in such short supply.
That's right.
And he thought what he would do was use hazelnuts to extend the amount of stuff that you could spread.
Absolutely.
Quite a good idea, really.
Absolutely good idea. Now, do you know that to this day, even though Mr. Ferrero sadly died, God rest his soul, his sons take over the business and all that, they have contracts on 15%, that's 15%, of the whole of the world's hazelnut production.
Do they?
And that is to make the Ferrero Rocher.
Well, your allegations back in the Christmas time were that there was a nut shortage.
There was.
That was going to lead to a Ferrero Rocher shortage.
There was.
Which also turned out to be cobbled.
There was a huge nut shortage, but I think they went into their reserve barns and got their reserves.
There was no problem at all.
Now, Mr. Mr. Ferrero, who made Ferrero Rocher, was, as most brilliant men are, a little bit eccentric.
Yes.
So do you know how he trained his son into understanding all aspects of his business?
No.
When the boy was 10, he used to take him to work, but he blindfolded him all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And the boy had to find his way around... What?
That's bizarre, isn't it?
No.
That is a weird thing to do.
Well, I'm just telling you I did it, right? He used to blindfold him, and the way the boy found his way around the factory and the plant where everything was made was by sense of smell.
Right.
So he had
didn't it all smell the same?
No. He had to smell which department was roasting the hazelnuts? Right. Which department was actually baking the chocolate, or whatever you do with chocolate, making the chocolate?
Making the chocolate, I guess, yeah.
Which department was in charge of...
The Tic Tacs.
The Tic Tacs and the Kinder Eggs, which smelt differently and all that. Right. So his boy had to walk around with his blindfold on all the time and just get around the factory by sense of smell.
Didn't they ban Kinder Eggs in America?
Because in case the children swallowed the toys.
Because I seem to remember that somebody tweeted out about this when there was a big shooting last year. That, America, the country which has banned Kinder Eggs because of the choking hazard, but where you can still buy a gun.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hang on.
Seems a bit odd, doesn't it?
Hang on, what was that? Have you and I talked about this, about that American...
Why are you holding your hands over your face?
Because I'm trying to remember. I can concentrate better with my hands over my eyes.
Maybe we should blindfold you and see if you can find your way out.
Oh, that's very funny. That's very funny.
That'd be great to film that, actually.
Yeah, very funny.
How well does Porky know TalkSport Towers?
Yeah.
Actually, that could be a video, couldn't it? We could blindfold you and see how easy it is for you to find your way out. I think we should do that.
No, I'd do it easy, honestly. It wouldn't be worth it.
It could be our 50 Shades of Grey kind of tribute.
No. I'm not getting involved in that either.
Well, just blindfold you.
A hopeless film. Apparently, according to some of the reviews I've read, I haven't been to see it, and I'm not going to go and see it. I don't like soft pornography.
No.
It doesn't turn me on at all.
No.
What I was about to say was...
I don't know, what were you about to say?
What I was about to say is that...
have I made you lose your train of thought?
You have made me lose train of thought. Oh, yeah, that thing on the American TV thing. Who was the comedian who highlighted an incident where a man got prosecuted for threatening people in a store hold-up by waving around a toy gun?
Oh, I know. You're talking about George Carlin.
And George Carlin said, so let's jail the guy with the toy gun. Yeah. Everybody else has got a real gun.
Yeah. Well,
can walk the streets.
No, this was a kid, I think, who had been killed by the cops.
That's right.
Because he was waving his gun around.
That's right.
And it turned out it was a fake gun.
That's right.
And so George Carlin said, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to keep the real guns and ban the fake ones.
That's right, yeah.
Which is exactly what happened.
Yeah, exactly. Ban the fake guns, keep the real ones. That's right, yeah. But anyway, look, that was old Ferrero, who I thought was a brilliant man. And I have to say...
because sometimes when we talk about these guys, you see something of yourself in these kind of tycoons.
Well, yeah, I do,
what
actually.
Was his private life like? Was he married many times?
He never gave an interview the whole of his life. He was so secretive about his private life. He married his secretary because he didn't
So he's quite like you, then. It's the sort of thing you would have done.
I never married a secretary.
No, but you went out with loads of them.
I did.
As you confessed last week on the Valentine's Day special.
That's true. Well, the thing is...
So you married his secretary?
You wouldn't know this, Mike, because you never rose to the sort of lofty positions in the media that I did. But you can have
Hey, by the way, have you seen that picture that's been put out on Twitter of you and Graham Kelly?
No.
It was put out earlier, and I should draw your attention to it.
That's a ridiculous picture.
It's from, I don't know if it's about 20 years ago, but somebody's found a picture of you standing behind Graham Kelly.
Well, they would do, because I was the director of communications at the FA when Graham
you look
Kelly...
more like Cardinal Richelieu.
No, when Graham Kelly was the chief executive.
Yeah, well, you look more like Cardinal Richelieu. It's quite a disturbing picture.
No.
Well, let me draw your attention to it.
No.
So a couple of people have already said on Twitter... This is. They want to hear that as well. But this is Porky shortly before giving away some more FA secrets to the assembled press.
It probably was. Now, right, I want you to start an investigation. I want to find the mole who's telling Fleet Street all these stories on the back of the Daily Mirror and the Daily Mail and the Sun. Oh, yeah, I had to start the investigation.
Amazing how young both he and you look, actually.
Well,
would that be about 20 years ago?
No, more like 30.
30 years ago?
Hang on.
No.
30? Yeah, 20 years ago.
Your hair is all still there. It's
1994.
It's still of a very ginger
94, 04, 14. Yeah, 20 years ago. Yeah. You're right. Yeah, absolutely.
He's still wearing glasses, but you're giving him a very odd look. You must say you're looking very suspiciously at him from behind the scenes.
Well, I'm probably, my ears are probably carefully guarding what sort of information he's giving out. Yeah. Now, look, quickly, because, we don't have a lot of time in these 2 hour shows, Mike, so we need to move on things. We talked about Ferrero Rocher. I want to talk to you about Kustark.
Do you?
Now, remind the audience...
Well, have you seen how much time there is
Hang
left?
on, remind the audience who Kustark is.
Kustark was one of Prince Andrew's most famous girlfriends, was she not? She was a soft porn actress, talking of 50 Shades of Grey. I don't think I ever saw any of the movies she was in, but I remember there was
she never made any proper movies.
No, but it was all that kind of Emmanuel type film.
Yeah, sort of, but it wasn't even as risque as that. No. I mean, thing is, he came back from the Falklands, he was a sort of national hero, you know what I mean? And then
very much unlike the situation nowadays.
Exactly, and then he was revealed to be going out with this Kustark, American, quote, soft porn actress. She wasn't. She never exposed any flesh or anything like that. You know what I mean? She's just in these sort of dreamy films. But anyway, that was in those days supposed to be a scandal, the Prince and the Showgirl and all that kind of stuff, you know? Now, I was given a task. I was told to go and find Kustark.
Oh, yeah.
Because, and I worked for the Express then, and it was literally, don't come back in the office till you found her. Don't care how long it takes.
How far did you have to look? Where was she?
Well, we knew she was in London somewhere, or if not London, the home counties or something like that. I had to go off on a trail, and it was an amazing story. Amazing story. And well,
you must tell us where she was, though, when you found her, and how did you track her down?
I eventually found her in... I'm trying to remember where it was now. Let me just think. It was...
You obviously haven't given us any thought at all, have you?
What?
You haven't given this story any thought.
Well, hang on. This is over 20 years ago. This is like 25 or 30 years ago. I don't even remember the exact address, but it was somewhere off sort of, it's like Hammersmith or somewhere like that, Fulham, somewhere like that.
But was it a private house or a hotel or what?
Oh, it was a private house, but I'll tell you where we started.
Yeah.
Tell you where we started looking for her, because it was our last known address. It was in Chester Square.
Oh, yeah.
And Chester Square is next to Eaton Square.
Very expensive, yeah.
Belgravia, one of the most expensive addresses in London.
Yeah.
And it was about 8 doors away from the pub into which Lady Lucan ran and said, he's tried to kill me, tried to kill me.
And I suppose you had to go into that pub while you were doing the research.
Oh, spent most of the 2 weeks in there looking for her, to be honest. No, in case you...
2 weeks in a pub.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you found her yet? No.
Yeah, and...
Same again, Mike.
No, in
the background.
No, but it's a fantastic story, I'm going to tell you. We've got a minute. And...
well, we've only got a minute.
Yeah, no, we haven't got more than a minute later in the show.
Right.
But it's a fantastic story of intrigue, stolen videos, flashing lights, car chases around the home counties, eventually finding a house where, believe it or not, I actually unveiled and unmasked Kustark.
Did you?
Who was the most sought-after woman in the world.
Right, and you beat everybody else to it?
I beat everybody else to it.
There must have been some dirty tricks involved.
There were a lot of dirty tricks involved,
you
believe
must have
me.
stitched up plenty of your colleagues.
Stitched up plenty of colleagues, gave them all false trails.
Yeah.
Told one guy that she was actually living and working in a restaurant called the Pink Flamingo.
Oh, yeah.
Just outside Cambridge, in a place called Melbourne, actually.
Right.
Little village called Melbourne.
So he went off up there looking for her?
Oh, yeah, he went off up there for 2 days trying to find her.
Sure.
And I cleared the way for me to eventually pounce and got all the glory and became yet again a star and a hero of Fleet Street.
Extraordinary
and
times.
I'll tell you the detail in a minute as well.
Well, I'll be quizzing you.
And there's some fantastic detail.
Is there?
Believe me. Do you know how we found her in the end?
No, I don't.
She had a motorcycle helmet on because she got off the back of a motorbike.
Yeah.
I got my photographer to run up and use the most powerful flash he'd got, bang, to put the flash straight through her visor, right?
Visor?
And for half a second, for a quarter of a second, her face lit up and I said, it's Kustark. I could see it just there and then, inside the visor.
She must have been delighted.
The face of Kustark.
I don't know why she was holding up her Visa card, but that's another story.
No, she had a visor over a motorcycle helmet, you fool.
It's a visor.
Visor.
Dear God. For extra time, I'm Mike Graham, he's Mike Parry, we are the Two Mikes. There will of course be a podcast coming out a little bit later on this morning. Got lots of tweets and emails coming in and some texts as well. Kent Milky says this, Mr. Parry. Porky's right, I saw Dumbo the elephant in Boots yesterday buying some ibuprofen. And Lee in South Wales, once an animal's been in captivity for so long you cannot release it back into the wild, it would be harmful to the animal. And Keith says, Mike, last week I mentioned Monkey Life, a serialisation of an animal sanctuary in Dorset that specialises in primates. It takes a wide range of primates in need from anywhere in the world and seeks to give them the best possible life. So Tommy the Chimp would love it there.
Yeah, I'm sure Tommy the Chimp would.
Tommy the Chimp and the macaque, you could send them there.
It would be brilliant. I'll get back onto the Kustark thing in a minute.
Yeah.
In between time, you've been very, very evasive.
How do you mean?
About the fact that though we weren't live in broadcasting over the weekend, we did leave our listeners and our followers on Twitter with a little video, didn't we?
Yes, we did, yeah.
And that video has now racked up thousands of hits.
The video which proves that you are indeed a circus clown.
No, the video that proves that your dexterity with your hands is so appalling.
No, absolutely
so
not.
poor.
Prove that
Perhaps you'd just like to explain to our listeners what the video was about.
I'm sure we don't need to know about it.
Oh, yes, they do. I'll
No.
let them know about it.
No,
it was about Gordon Bennett.
No, we do things every single week, right? And when we don't do them, they're done. So if you want to go to Two Mikes TV on YouTube, you can go and have a look at it. Simple as that. But that was last week. This week we're going to do something else.
Go to Two Mikes TV on YouTube.
You know, just because you've finally found something
and
that you can do.
watch the Gordon Bennett trick, please.
With a relative amount of success.
Gordon Bennett was a New York publisher He used to finance
boring story.
He used to finance expeditions to the Arctic and the Antarctic. But his favourite trick in all the top restaurants in New York, where he took people, was to get up after lunch had finished.
I can't believe that you're still obsessing about this.
And he'd grab the dining, what's it called, the
tablecloth.
Tablecloth, that's right. Yeah. And he'd whip it off the table.
It's not an easy word to remember, that.
He'd whip it off the table and leave everything standing on the table. Now, I practiced this technique several times years ago. I didn't know... Excuse me.
Hello.
I didn't know...
news has come in.
Breaking
news. Porky admits that he practiced it all day before he actually did it.
No, I said years ago.
You did.
I didn't know I still had the touch, so I brought it in. We tested it out here.
So you've done it before, in
other words. I managed to whip the cloth off without breaking one single bowl, plate, glass or anything.
So you admit that you've done it before?
Years ago.
Last week you said you'd never done it before.
I have never done it in that fashion.
More lies.
So anyway, then we set it all back up again, right? Didn't even have to get new crockery, and I bought a new set of crockery because I thought I wouldn't get away with mine. Let MG do it, and you want to see the results. Please go on to Two Mikes TV on YouTube, and you will see the appalling results. The noise, that's it.
Yeah, well,
that's what it's all about.
I'm so delighted that, it's so... Listen to the false laughter.
See, what a jerk. There you go. That just about sums it all up.
It's incredible that you're such a child that actually any kind of minor success for you. It's a bit like when you get a quiz question right. All right, well, let's revisit one of the other things from last week then, because most people, I think, said one of the funniest bits of radio they've ever heard was you thinking that you had the question number 10 in the ABBA quiz right, when it turned out it was all wrong.
When you deliberately misled me.
When you went to Bucks Fizz and your little face lit up because you thought, I've got it, I finally got it, and it was wrong.
And how you could possibly gauge that as a question on ABBA. Who won the Eurovision Song Contest the year after ABBA? How that was anything about ABBA. I have been, asked that time and time again over the weekend in hundreds, if not thousands of tweets.
It was a Dutch band, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Can you remember?
I don't know. Golden Earring?
No, it wasn't Golden Earring.
Well, they were a Dutch band.
They were a Dutch band. Do you remember what their big hit was?
I can hum it.
I've been driving all night.
I've been driving all night.
My hands are wet on the wheel.
And the other Dutch group was Hocus Focus by Pocus. Wasn't it?
No, it was Focus.
That's what I'm saying.
We put out a song called Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, that's what I just said.
No, you just said it was Hocus Focus by Pocus.
Oh, I see, right, OK. Hocus Pocus by Focus.
Do you know what POTUS stands for, by the way?
No.
POTUS?
No.
You're supposed to be a man of the world.
What do you mean, POTUS?
POTUS, P-O-U-T-S. T-U-S, sorry.
P-O-T-U-S?
Yeah, POTUS.
What's that got to do with the price of fish?
It's the President of the United States. It's the name they use for Obama.
Okay,
it's the name they use, security guys.
What's that got to do with Hocus Focus and Pocus?
Well, it sounds like Pocus, doesn't it?
Doesn't sound like anything at all. Now, getting back to Q-Stark, who happens...
Maybe when Barack Obama leaves the White House, he could get involved in some kind of Dutch heavy metal band.
The old POTUS.
They call themselves Hocus Potus.
No, I don't think so. Of course, Barack Obama's American. So is Q-Stark, right?
Yeah.
And the Q-Stark story...
let's hear the rest of the
Q-Stark story
stitched up your mates.
Starts when, of course, Smart and the Average Bear, instead of just sitting around in Chester Square waiting for it to come home...
Yeah.
I sneak round the back to the Muse house at the back, where I discover that the people...
Was it her house, or was she being put up there by somebody else?
No. It was one of her rich friends in London. She was staying there, but it was in a basement, so, you could look down into it, you see what I mean?
Right.
So I go round the back to the Muse house to find that the couple living in the Muse house are the keepers of the house. The lady is the cleaner and housekeeper and all that, and the chap is the gardener and the handyman and the driver when the people who own the place are there, you know. And I was just chatting to them. They were Spanish, but they spoke English.
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Otherwise they wouldn't have understood a word you were saying.
And we just chatted and all that. And then one of them the woman mentioned, she said, well, used to see them with the new machine, with the light. And I said, new machine, well, they have a new machine? Yes, on the shoulder and very bright lights. I said, shoulder bright lights. No. Very bright
We're going to get back to the Honda, see?
I said, could it be a video?
Right. No, he was making videos, was he?
Yeah, video.
Oh, really?
Video, yeah. I said, oh, really?
They're Japanese now.
No. I said, video, OK. I said, that's great. So, of course, I only needed the one clue. You only need one clue, don't you?
Yeah.
One fact and all that.
Well, you only need one fact to write a three-part series.
Absolutely.
Like you did with Rudolf Nureyev.
That's right. And on next day's front page of the Daily Express, the Q-Stark videos.
Right.
The hunt is on.
Right.
Scotland Yard
Did you ever find any?
No. Scotland Yard desperately trying to trace videos of intimacy between the royal couple, you know, Prince...
absolutely incredible.
Prince Andrew and... Yeah, seriously, Prince Andrew and Cousteau. I never suggested that they were mucky ones.
No.
It was just they were just social videos of the two of them reclining together with a glass of wine or something like that, you know. But the hunt was on for the videos, and as you say, it's now 30 years, and I haven't found one yet.
That's one of those great stories. I've just got to stop you because there's been another wicket in the cricket, but we'll get back to it. John Norman.
Another wicket for young Ian Davies. Scotland making New Zealand struggle for this under-par target of 143. New Zealand required just another 11 runs for victory, but they're going to have to do it without Corey Anderson, who's just picked out the deep square leg fielder. So good stuff from Scotland. They could have just allowed New Zealand to canter to victory, but they're fighting hard. New Zealand still should do it, though, chasing 143. They're 132 for 7.
Amazing, that Scotland doing all right, you know.
You're doing okay, yeah.
You might be wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, see, those were the days when you're absolutely right. One fact could literally make the front page.
Yeah, but I had to think laterally.
Well, yeah, because presumably once you realised that there were possibly videos being made, you then phoned some friendly person at Scotland Yard to say, presumably the police would be interested in looking at these videos.
Yes.
And they say, well, of course, if they exist.
Exactly.
But you leave the if they exist bit off.
No, exactly, yeah, exactly.
Because you never found out if they did exist.
If there were videos around of Prince Andrew and the showgirl, they would be extremely valuable to foreign publishers and all sorts of people, you know? So it was absolutely justified. But anyway...
But you never found the videos?
Well, I can't say that, can I? The police don't tell me everything that happens in their investigations. The point is, the hunt was on.
One of your sources would let you know.
The hunt was on for the videos. So
I'm more interested in what happened after you took this picture of her and looked through the visor.
Right, what happened was, after 2.5 weeks, right, of literally 24-hour days trying to find them down in the country.
She must have known you guys were there, surely.
Yes, she did, yeah, but there were a number of addresses then.
Yeah.
She didn't go back to Chester Square.
Oh, right.
We found her in another friend's house, right, about 2 miles away.
So when the picture was done at Chester Square, you didn't get anything out of that? She didn't speak to you?
Who?
Stark.
No. You know the one about the flashlight going through the visor?
Yeah.
That was not in Chester Square.
Oh, I see.
That was not Chester Square. After 2.5 weeks, we found another address, and we thought, if we don't get her here, worth giving up now, I've had enough. And within an hour, this motorbike turned up.
Right.
She got off the back. The guy I was working with, the photographer, was a brilliant boy, Keith Butler, said... That's definitely her. I said, how do you know? He said, I've been studying every picture that's ever been taken of, and she's got longer arms than a normal girl of her size.
Really?
They come down to just below her hips. Huh. He said, that's her. I said, well, you go and take a picture of her quickly before she goes anywhere. You know, it was the obvious statement, but in those days, we were very worried about press intrusion on private property and all that kind of stuff, you know. So he walked up and shouted her name, and she turned round, which is always a giveaway.
People tend to do that, don't they?
Absolutely.
Even if they don't want to.
Absolutely. Subconsciously, and he just went bang. And I'm not joking. I couldn't tell it was her face through the flash going through the visor at that point, the visor at that point. But when we got back to the office, and luckily it was only about 10:30 at night, so plenty of time for the main run of the paper. The minute they printed that picture, remember it was Devon Fix in those days. They weren't digital. No. You went into a dark room, you put it in, and then slowly the image emerges. Right. Of a helmet, and then the middle of the helmet is just white space, and then her features came up through the.
It's a bit like taking a picture through the dark windows.
It is, and it came up, it was her face. It was the first picture ever taken of her since the revelations.
Well, did you get a chat with her?
No.
So what was your part in all this?
Well, my part in all this was tracking her down. I was the brains behind it all. In actually,
were you the only two people there?
Absolutely, the only two people there.
Okay. Well, that's quite good then.
So when you say, did I get a chat with her? The answer is directly no, because she's never spoken until the reason we're talking about it is until last weekend in the Mail on Sunday, defending Prince Andrew against allegations that he had sex slaves. You know, she's never spoken about it at all.
Right.
So I didn't get to talk with her, but of course, once we had the picture of her, all her friends started ringing me up and telling me all about her. So I was the hero of Fleet Street, literally again.
Of course.
Yes.
That's how every one of your stories ends.
Well,
and I was the hero of Fleet Street.
Yes.
Amazing. Mr. Mike Porky Parry, there is no other. We are the two Mikes. This is TalkSport Extra Time. I'm Mike Graham. He's Mike Parry. Of course, there will be a podcast coming out. Winners and Losers with Toby Gillies coming up very shortly. William has tweeted in at the two Mike saying Paddy Power is offering odds of 1,000 to 1 on Toby winning Winners and Losers.
I would think so. Yeah,
to think that,
it's about right.
It's somehow it's sort of it's sloped against him in some way.
Yeah.
Here's one from David in Beath who says the Golden Earring song was called Radar Love. I didn't get a chance to tell you that.
Radar Love. Bum 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 bum. Yeah, I remember it well.
And here's one from Winford, who says, good morning, Mr. Graham. I can't see the point in Winners and Losers, as you always make sure Mr. Parry wins. Absolutely not true. Mm-hmm. It's unbelievable that people would accuse me of some kind of what you would describe as gerrymandering of the Winners and Losers. Yeah, By the way, one of the things we have to do on this show, because we ought to really get it in gear, is figure out what the quiz is going to be on Thursday.
I don't think we have to do that tonight.
Yeah, we do.
I don't think we do.
Because the quiz masters need to have enough time to put the quiz together.
The quiz masters, the ones that you bribe on... Oh, by the way, let me just tell you this. You cast aspersions on my singing abilities at the Old Bank, right?
Yeah.
We haven't had an email during the course of this show from Mr. Lee Wilson, who is
I played your singing.
The regional director of the group of pubs.
Oh, yeah.
Of which the Old Bank is one, who praises fully my contribution, my singing, the effect it had on the audience.
Has he tweeted you?
No, because he says he can't get any tweets out.
What a coincidence.
I don't know, something's gone wrong with his tweeting
so he doesn't want to make it a
capacity.
Public, so it's not a public statement he's put out?
Well, I don't know, really. Well,
what has he emailed you? What's he done?
Yeah, he's emailed me. He sent me an email saying that one of the greatest forms of flattery is imitation. People walking in the pub all the time now picking up a microphone and trying to be Porky. How about that? Yeah.
Dear me.
Pretty good,
That's not going to end
Pretty
well,
good.
is it?
There you go.
Here's a tweet from Bill who says, why didn't Porky stick an ad in the Times to find Kustark, like his creepy Valentine for his lost love?
Oh, dear me. That's a bit harsh. It wasn't, that was, you see, that's a bit harsh saying that. It was a true show of affection in the only way I could.
You look great in your underwear. Fantastic.
No, lingerie. You look lovely. You look lovely in lingerie. What's wrong with that?
It's not exactly a Valentine's wish, is it?
Well, I think it is. I think it's rather emotive.
Really?
And there was no other way I could contact the young lady because it would have given the game away. It was supposed to be a furtive relationship, you see.
Yeah, because she was married.
Well, look, you don't need to get into the grubby details.
She was married.
It was a furtive relationship. I think it was more about the fact that we both worked in the same building and she had a sensitive position as the editor secretary. I had a sensitive position as the top newsman, the news editor, and we couldn't really go public on it. Simple as that, okay?
Yeah, okay.
What were we talking about before?
Well, we were, funnily enough, talking about people flocking to the pub.
Right,
There's a story this week saying that actually the younger people of this parish...
I can't believe it.
...are not drinking as much as their parents, probably.
I feel very sorry for them.
Why?
Because when you're young and between the age of about 17 and 23, you should get bladdered on a regular basis. No, you should.
That's not the kind of information or advice you should be giving out.
It's called growing up. It's called growing up, right?
Well, first of all, you're not supposed to drink under the age of 18. So that would be illegal.
Everybody does, And anyway, you could drink outside of a pub.
So maybe we could have,
at home.
Porky's top 10 rules for life.
Yeah.
Between the age of 17 and 23, you should be getting bladdered as much as possible.
You should. Everybody does.
No.
Everybody does.
Well, nowadays, apparently, everybody doesn't.
Well, this is what I can't understand. I mean, these people must be really faceless, boring, two straight type people. What do they do if they're not going out and getting
this is a new study
in the pub?
Into the drinking habits of the young, right?
Yeah.
And it says the number of teenagers and 20-somethings who binge on alcohol has fallen sharply, with many young people choosing not to drink at all.
I can't believe that.
Now, you know that I've always got slight sort of reservations about some of these studies that they do, because you never quite know if people, one, are telling you the truth, and two, are doing something else. Because it might be, for example, because, I mean, we've all known people in our pasts, without wishing to name any names, who might prefer to smoke a joint than drink alcohol.
Sure.
So it may
or
well
do
be...
both.
Or do both, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But it may well be that these are young people who, for example, are doing something else to get their rocks off. They're getting high on drugs of some kind or another and not drinking. So it might not be that they're not
I think that's most unlikely.
Bladdered.
Mostly people who are tempted by excesses of drugs would be tempted by the excess of alcohol.
Well, not always.
Although certainly. Well, do you know anybody who's ever been like a ganja merchant and a teetotaler?
I have known people in my life who've been like that.
I find it's extraordinary.
This is an Office of National Statistics study.
So it's an official study.
It is a government official study.
Yeah.
But apparently the Facebook generation, as they're being dubbed, they're actually saying here they're shunning drinking, drugs and casual sex. Blimey.
I mean...
they're not having any fun, are they?
Exactly. I mean, that's the whole thing between 17 and 23. One-night stands, absolute necessary, a little disco and all that kind of stuff. Plenty of drink into... I mean... I mean, drinking to the point of oblivion is sort of de rigueur at that age, isn't it?
Well,
you know what I mean?
I thought so, yeah.
And as for the drugs, well, I'm all for that. I've never taken drugs in my life, so I can't really comment on that one, but I don't think it's a very good thing to do.
Well, no, especially not if it's illegal drugs.
Well, I don't think anyone should take any drugs, because even when these kids say, oh, you know, it's 1 in a million chance of an E-tablet making you ill, kids die of E-tablets. I would recommend all youngsters stay away from all drugs. But I don't regard alcohol as a particularly dangerous drug, to be honest.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people do. So that's an opinion which you may be wrong about.
No. What I'm saying is, in the amount that youngsters can drink, I don't regard it as dangerous. I regard it as dangerous if you're a Dylan Thomas type figure drinking 38 large whiskies in a day.
The danger, of course, of binge drinking is it's the amount of alcohol that goes into your system all at the same time.
Well,
and if your body isn't particularly built for dealing with it, then it can have very precarious consequences. Now, how about this one? Young people are also now far less likely to smoke. See, on the one hand, I can go along with this as an Office of National Statistics survey, but all you got to do is walk around the country that we live in, and you see young people smoking, falling about drunk, and clearly high on drugs. So I'm not quite sure where all these people are going.
No,
maybe they're not going out anywhere.
Well, I don't know, and I don't know where they get these people from. I mean, we're told, for instance, Mike, that young people turn away from crime. Young people don't take drink. Young people are not into, sort of casual sex and all that. But all the evidence I have of the way people behave counters all of those.
Yeah.
They're all going in the opposite direction to me.
I know.
I think people are taking more drugs. I think people are taking more drink. I think there's crime going on all over the place. It doesn't get recorded these days because it's so prevalent.
Well, casual sex as well. It's far easier to do now.
Definitely.
You don't actually have to go and meet anybody. They've got all these apps that you can arrange to meet each other online.
It is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I read a piece last week by a very distinguished female journalist called Melissa Kite.
Oh, yeah. And you like her stuff, don't you?
Oh, she's great.
You quote from her stuff quite a lot.
I do. And she's now...
Does she write in the Spectator?
She writes in the Mail, the Spectator. I've seen her in The Guardian. She writes for loads of people.
Yeah.
But the point I'm making is she's a lady now of... Well, she's not a teenager or in her 20s anymore, put it that way.
Okay.
And
she's fairly young, though.
Yes, she's not an old woman at all. Not an old woman at all.
Not an old woman?
No, but she's not even middle-aged, but she tried the dating process through, as you quite rightly say, dating sites.
Tinder?
I think it was Tinder, yeah. And she said you instantly get an offer from 10 people the minute that you post that you're looking for somebody, right? And she said the amount of misinformation which is put into the replies you get, which is clearly designed to entrap you under false premises to see people, meet people and
false
all that. But she says some of the replies are simply, OK, your place or mine, without even meeting, you know what I mean? And she says, clearly, there's an element of people who see it as access to instant sex. Without any...
Full sex, even.
Full sex. Full and instant sex, right? Full instant sex. Sounds like a cup of coffee, doesn't it?
Full instant sex.
Full and instant
Guaranteed.
sex. Yeah.
Without... to Porky's place.
Without any... No, please, don't mislead people. Without any emotional involvement whatsoever.
Yeah.
I mean, what sort of world have we come to? But on the...
Well, you seem a bit confused about whether this is a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, on the youngsters not drinking, I don't want people to think that I'm irresponsible about drink. All I'm saying is...
Have you seen the time, by the way?
For 99.9% of people of that age genre, that group, they drink to points of, bladderation without endangering themselves.
Quite.
And that's what I wish for.
Mars says this: young ones are worried about STDs, hence not doing one-night stands like Casanova Parry did when he was younger.
What?
We'll talk more about that coming up. But coming up next, Toby Gillies will be here because it's time for Winners and Losers. It is that time of the week, winners and losers of the weekend. It's Toby Gillies versus Mike Porky Parry, and it is a rollover jackpot, it has to be said, because last week we couldn't find a winner. It was a draw. Toby, a very good morning to you and welcome back.
Good morning.
There was, as we heard earlier, a rumour that you weren't going to show up for this.
Yeah,
but,
not quite sure where that came from.
Very glad to see you.
I'd never give up.
No,
I'd never
give in. I can't imagine that you would. Now, is it 5-0 or 7-0? I can't remember.
Oh, I don't even count.
7,
anymore.
I think.
Is it 7?
7.
All right, well,
I think it's actually 6, isn't it?
Is it? I think it's 7. I think
it's good that this is written down somewhere.
Yeah.
Kept official.
Anyway, regardless of what it is, I'm going to say we'll split the difference. Say it's 6-0 at the moment. You could get 2 back. Let's hear your losers first, Mr. Toby Gillies.
Okay, well, my first loser is one that I thought was quite obvious. Lance Armstrong. And the reason that I've picked him is because Porky has won several of these simply by picking people who've lost lots of money over the course of a weekend. So I feel like it would be remiss of me to leave Armstrong out.
All right.
And this is because he's been hit with $10 million bill after losing his lawsuit with SCA Promotions, who've paid him all sorts of bonuses over the course of his career.
He says he's not going to pay him, though, doesn't he?
Well, so he says, but it's actually more than he earned from them, believe it or not. So he's definitely been hit in the pocket more than he ever even received. And it's also the largest sanction against an individual in US judicial history. That definitely makes him a loser.
I think that's not a bad one. Go on, then.
My next is the future of Irish cricket.
Oh, yeah.
Their performance in this World Cup, believe it or not, is actually unlikely to affect whether they're entitled to get in the next World Cup, which is actually shrinking. There's going to be fewer teams in it. Ireland are unlikely to get in. That's despite the fact they've famously beaten Pakistan, beaten England in it before. Now they've beaten the West Indies. It was magnificent yesterday. They've clear potential as a cricketing nation, and yet they've got absolutely no chance of competing at this level in future because they're going to get chucked out the biggest one-day tournament that happens, so it's never going to be realised.
Okay.
Big blow to that.
Don't mind that one either.
My final one is John Joe O'Toole. Who's been a bit of a
name?
Who?
What a name.
John Joe O'Toole.
John Joe O'Toole.
Who's been a bit of an O'Toole.
Okay.
Because he's the Northampton midfielder. Now, the supporters decided to use the game at Mansfield as John Joe O'Toole Day.
Oh, yeah.
He's got funny sort of big hair, and so they all dressed up with his hairstyle, and 1,000 went to Mansfield to watch Northampton play. 36 minutes in, he gets a straight red card for kicking a Mansfield player. Sent off, and Northampton, who judging by league position alone on paper should quite comfortably beat Mansfield, ended up having to rely on a 90th minute equaliser to get anything, and John Joe O'Toole was shamed and booed by the fans who'd gone there celebrating
on his own day.
His part in John Joe O'Toole Day.
Okay, I'm not quite sure whether Porky's falling asleep here, but you seem to be not taking great interest in your opponent's suggestions.
That would affect about 5 people. That's the number of people in Northampton interested in football.
Well, I like John O'Toole.
1,000 went.
I think
John that's more than 5.
I think he's the best one of the 3. What are your 3 then, Mr. Parry?
Right, here we go, the losers, right? First of all, the West Ham fans at Blackburn. What a disgrace. What a bunch of losers, OK?
Why?
Because Sam Allardyce has given them a good season. Up till about a month ago, they were, talking excitedly about a top 4 place and all this kind of stuff. Turned their fortunes around, wasn't playing the long ball anymore, and they seemed to love him. And then goes wrong, couple of bum results. They got the Cup of Blackburn, humiliation.
I thought they were playing West Brom.
They did.
It was West Brom. What
were they doing at Blackburn?
They weren't at Blackburn.
There was a big demo against Sam Allardyce at Blackburn. That's for fans that missed the stop at Birmingham.
He was the Blackburn manager for a while.
Of course he was.
I think we'll have to dismiss that one since you got it geographically wrong.
No, I haven't got it geographically wrong.
You said they were all at Blackburn.
Yeah, no.
Twice.
It was because it happened at both Blackburn and West Brom.
Did it?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, okay. Right.
But at the West Brom one, right, the West Brom game, they were particularly virulent to him. 4-0 defeat is a tough defeat to have to suffer. I agree. But the point is, they made no consideration for the improvement this season. Therefore, in my mind, they're a disgrace, particularly as they verbally and somewhat physically barracked.
Barracked.
Yeah, Mr.
Obama.
Mr. Sullivan.
Mr. Sullivan, me, Mr.
the
Obama?
co-owner of West Ham in the car park.
I'm not having that one.
Well,
you got it geographically wrong.
Right.
What's the next one?
Tommy Docherty. Tommy Docherty was in a tabloid newspaper at the end of last week giving the lowdown on where Louis van Gaal is going wrong at Manchester United.
That's pretty good coming from him.
I was about to say he lost his job at Manchester United when he ran off with the physiotherapist's wife, and as a result got a black eye from the physiotherapist himself, a guy called Ken Brown.
Yeah, I remember that.
So frankly, Tommy Docherty now passing the test on Manchester United is ridiculous. And the third one, which is to me the most obvious one, Kevin Peterson, in the lottery today, when you're all supposed to be bought up for millions and millions of pounds, was not wanted in cricket circles anymore in India.
Wasn't he?
And the first offer of £205,000 was the only one that was put up for the bid. Peterson now, finally, after all the controversy and his sacking by England, was today officially branded a loser.
What, because he got 205,000?
No, because he was number 7 in the list, whereas this time last year he was top.
Yeah, it's not as much of a loss as Lance Armstrong, is it?
No. In terms of reputation,
my favourite story is John Joe O'Toole.
No, it's not. It's Tommy Docherty. You just said that.
No, my favourite story of all 6 of them is John Joe O'Toole. So I'm giving 1 point to Toby Gillies in preparation for the winners, which are coming up now. Tie.
Yeah.
Right. So why we're now doing a double rollover. Pretty sure it's a double rollover. I'm going to let Mr. Parry go first here. If you get a point back, then it'll be a triple rollover.
Right, OK. Without doubt, the winner of the week is little 6-year-old Harry Westlake, the mascot for the rugby union team, who stood there and put his hand across his chest and sung the national anthem to the astonishment of us all. And he hopes to be a future England player himself.
Does he?
Well, he certainly should be.
Where's he from?
He's from Buckinghamshire.
Is he?
But he was the mascot. He won the mascot's job out of hundreds of kids who applied for it, and he is
quite nice.
a rugby player himself.
Yeah.
But have you seen the video?
No.
You seen the video of it?
No.
He stands there and he belts it out. He's only about quarter the size of Rob Shaw, the England captain, with who he's standing in front of. Okay, that's one. The second one. Is the Football Association, because the way the draw has gone for the quarter-finals has actually given them a fantastic tie in the quarter-finals.
What?
Manchester United versus Arsenal.
Yeah. Have they found a sponsor yet?
They haven't found a sponsor yet, but that's why I'm saying, thank God, they've really got a proper tie now which can light up the tournament. It's that quarter-final draw. And the third one, of course...
What's wrong with Aston Villa against West Brom?
This is more glamorous. Come on, you can't say it's not. Manchester United versus Arsenal, the most glamorous tie in the competition so far this season.
Well, maybe.
For goodness sake, OK? And the third one...
Birmingham missed that.
The third one, of course, is Randy Lerner.
Oh, yeah.
Because Randy Lerner has got himself the best young manager, Tim Sherwood. And guess what? Tim Sherwood has been the favourite to be appointed the manager at 6 previous clubs.
Yeah, but he's never got the job before.
At 6 previous...
So
he's not accepted. He's not accepted the job.
Because what's happened now is that Aston Villa somehow have either given in to his demands...
No.
Or they haven't spoken to all of those clubs and asked them why didn't they give him the job.
West Brom, Brighton, Southampton, Palace, Newcastle, QPR... Tim Sherwood was the favourite to go to all those clubs, but the one who got him, the man who got him, Randy Lerner, has now become a winner after being a loser all season. And the other one, the Gurkhas. The Gurkha Regiment.
4.
Oh, well, is it? I thought it was 3. Oh, it's the Gurkhas. Oh, well, never mind.
Unless you want to chuck Harry Westlake out and make it the Gurkhas.
No. Harry Westlake's the one. Harry Westlake's going to win it for me.
He's the only one I think I like out of those. Toby, what have you got for me?
Well, I'm going to start with probably the most obvious winner of the weekend, but it doesn't get better than Bradford and Phil Parkinson.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely magnificent. They are quite simply the best lower league cup team in the country. League Cup final, of course, 2 years ago. Now become one of only 2 English sides, of course, to beat Chelsea at home under Jose Mourinho. Yeah. And now they've beaten Sunderland very comfortably, it has to be said, into the last 8, and a very decent chance, given their draw against a pretty average Reading side, of reaching Wembley yet again. Bradford and Phil Parkinson, big winners on 2 occasions. 1 the result and 2 the draw.
OK, second.
The next one is the Championship, which just had an incredible weekend of football. Blackpool 4, Nottingham Forest 4, Bolton 3, Watford 4, Charlton shocking Brentford, Huddersfield surviving for a draw against the league leaders Bournemouth. There's now just 3 points between 1st and 5th. Huge
Can you
teams.
Stop banging your pen on the desk there, otherwise I have to take a point.
Sorry.
Huge teams like Fulham and Bolton are being threatened with relegation. It offers absolutely everything, and I think this week proved it's the best league in Europe.
Oh, what a load of cobblers.
Right, question number 3.
My final one is Zlatan Ibrahimovic. As I'm sure you are aware, he scored in the 2nd minute against Caen for Paris Saint-Germain and revealed that he has now had tattoos of the names of 50 people afflicted around the world by war, extreme poverty and disaster.
This is the winning category, not the losing category.
They're temporary tattoos,
Yes, they are temporary tattoos, but it's helped to raise awareness of a wonderful cause, the UN's World Food Programme. It's a great gesture, it's a great campaign, a brilliant way to raise awareness. Zlatan Ibrahimovic took those 50 names and has brought their plight to the world.
Yeah, I must have missed that. I didn't notice that. And he got a yellow card as well, didn't he?
He got a yellow card for revealing his body.
Yeah.
It has
so
to
he's now going to be suspended.
He's not suspended. No, he's not suspended.
Loser.
I think I can't really give it to anybody but Henry Westlake.
Harry Westlake.
Has
Thank
to be
you.
Well, that doesn't mean you've won, though.
It doesn't mean it means I've not been beaten.
No, it means that you've drawn against him. It's a triple rollover.
I'm getting closer, aren't I? 3 draws in a row.
It's a triple rollover.
You're losing your magic touch, Porky.
No. Next week we'll have to have the winner takes it all.
I have to say, I'm not here next week.
Oh, really? Well, that's convenient.
That's
convenient.
The bottler.
Roll them over for a couple of weeks.
Because I'm the bottler. I'm
not sure we can do that.
I'll have around.
Take it easy. I think what we'll have to do is seek guidance from those who must be obeyed behind the glass.
Surely you could deduct points off of Porky for gloating about a draw.
No.
Doesn't that make him a loser?
No, because the points have already been awarded.
I'm unbeaten. I'm unbeaten in this whole competition.
The points have already been awarded.
Toby. You wouldn't know what that means.
3 draws in a row
you wouldn't know
is
what that
nowhere
means.
near the dominance that you began with.
Ben Fletcher won
Ben
it.
Fletcher never beat me in anything.
He did. He won it when he was in a few weeks ago.
See, Toby, you're a schmuck, mate. That's your problem.
If you carry on with that kind of talk, you will be deducted.
You've got to learn how to be a winner, pal.
You'll be deducted.
I'll give you lessons if you want.
You're not really a winner anymore, though.
I wrote
3
a book
draws in
on
a
it.
row.
You both stop it, or you'll both be awarded losers of the week, and I'll win, and I'll take all the points for the end of the week as well. There will be no doubt some video action on Two Mics TV. You can go there and see what we did last week, of course, which we've already talked about at great length. Now, do you know it's Pancake Tuesday? Today.
Do you know, I only realised that when I got in.
I've got a tweet here from somebody which I can't find at the moment, basically saying he's listening over in China, and apparently it's the beginning of the Chinese New Year.
Yeah, that's right.
Which means
Year of the Sheep, isn't it?
A Year of the Sheep, and it's all a whole week off they get, basically.
Well, week off?
Here we go. It's from Tim. Listen to the show every day in Shanghai. Love it. Finish at 1 p.m. today to start Chinese New Year celebrations. 7-day national holiday.
Blimey.
It'd be great if we could get a 7-day national holiday, wouldn't it?
Well, we do virtually over Christmas, don't we?
No.
Sort of, we do.
No, people still work. Well, we didn't. You and I were working.
Well, that's true, yeah. But most people sort of take it off between Christmas and New Year. But I wouldn't want 7 days off anyway.
No, but a 7-day national holiday means that you wouldn't have anything open,
everything down,
everything would be shut down.
Yeah, you find that amazing in a country like China, which really prides itself now on its dynamism. You know what I mean?
Dynamism.
Dynamism. That's the word.
Can you give us an update on the iron ore situation, by the way? Because a lot of people have been asking for that since last week.
Well, it's obvious, isn't it? If you're building lots of bridges and power stations,
tell us what the market's doing,
and laying lots of railways.
Let's have the iron ore market report.
They order their iron ore from Western Australia, and Western Australia take it to the coast, put it on ships, and ship it over to China.
A lot of people are keen
Quite
now.
Simple.
They want an update from you on a regular basis.
Well, I haven't got a minute-to-minute update, have I? I'm just telling you that millions of tons of iron ore are shipped out to China every year. In fact, probably every week or month. Right, now then, that song we just played, Mirror on the Wall.
That's called Man in the Mirror, actually.
I was talking to a top technical expert last week.
Oh, yeah.
And it was about cars, believe it or not. Because
was this the guy who told you that they've got too many gadgets in them now?
Well, they have got too many gadgets. I mean, particularly one which is the eco button, which you have to keep switching off. We talked about that. But anyway, guess what is going to be removed from the next generation of super smart cars? The mirrors.
The mirrors?
Not having mirrors anymore.
Why not?
Because they can have cameras instead. You know, you already told me about the...
you must have a mirror to your right and a mirror to the centre of the car.
They're all going to be cameras. They're not.
I wouldn't fancy that.
They're all going to be cameras. You won't have... The reason why you won't have a rear view mirror anymore is because, as you can probably understand, the driving position when you're looking over the steering wheel to go forward, it's a distraction when you have to look up to a mirror on your left. So in future... Of course it is.
No,
in future, it is. You're taking your eyes off the road.
No, you're not.
You are. For a tenth of a second, you're taking your eye off the road, look at your mirror. In future...
how often do you look in your rearview mirror when you're driving down the road?
I do all the time.
Why?
A, to see if I'm being followed by a policeman. B, to see whether...
being followed by a policeman?
Well, I don't know. You never know, do you? B, to see whether...
Is your driving really bad or something?
No.
Are you all speeding?
No.
Well, why would you worry about being followed by a cop?
Well, I've got to be vigilant. And B, I want to know whether...
How often would you say your eyes stray to the central mirror?
Oh, every minute.
Every minute?
Yeah, every minute, yeah, definitely.
Sounds like you've got some kind of problem.
No, I haven't got a problem. I also...
Why don't you just check the right hand and the left hand mirrors, and then you could see as well?
Well, that's a bigger distraction, looking over that way. Anyway, look, if you use a bit of common sense, you will see that if you could look through the steering wheel to see what's behind you, rather than having to look up at the mirror, that's a much more efficient way of driving. And that can be done by a camera.
Well, you're still looking at something else then, aren't you?
It doesn't matter. You're looking in the same direction as the road.
Well, where's this TV camera going to be projecting its image?
In the back of the car.
In the back of the car?
It's in your back bumper. The camera's in the back bumper.
No. I mean, what are you looking at to see what's behind you?
You're looking at your dashboard, of course.
Well, so you're still taking your eyes off the road?
No, you're not taking
How is that any different from looking at the regular mirror?
Because you are not elevating your eyes 65 degrees to the left.
Rubbish.
You are not.
Do you remember Aston Martin, I think it was, came out with the speedometer and everything projected onto the bottom of the windscreen?
Right.
So that you could actually look straight through the windscreen and see what speed you were doing and all that. Yeah. And I think they ended up cancelling it because it became too much of a distraction.
Well, I'm sure that would move across your windscreen, but this is not on the windscreen. This is on your dashboard.
No.
This is on your dashboard.
Have you ever driven a car with a camera in the back?
No.
It's not a difficult question.
No, I haven't.
Because I have, right?
Yeah,
and I'll tell you what's wrong with it.
Yeah.
I rented a car once. And it was a brand new car a couple of years ago or so. And it had one of these mirrors in the, this camera, rear view camera.
Yeah.
And actually, it was a distorted view. And what it did was it would project it into where the sat-nav was in the middle of the car. So when you were backing up, you could see around the car, but it was almost like a wide-angle lens. So actually, it gave
like
you
a fisheye,
almost like that, and it gave you a completely false perspective.
Well, anyway,
where I'm sorry to be, giving you some facts here.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point is, it wasn't actually very good because it meant for me, I preferred to then just look in the mirror.
Yeah, well, that's an early version, and you're too set in your ways to be able to adopt a new technology.
A friend of mine years ago up in Scotland had one of those Lexus four-wheel drives, and that had a rear view camera as well.
Yeah.
It still doesn't beat the old sensors for parking.
Well, okay, you say. But anyway, the reason I told you all this is it's soon going to move into domestic use.
Is it?
For instance, the new generation of houses being built, probably from next year, will not have mirrors in them.
Well, houses don't have mirrors in them.
They do.
You buy mirrors to put in the houses.
No. If you go,
when did you buy a house that had a mirror in it?
Every house I've ever bought has had mirrors in them.
Where?
In the bathroom, on the bathroom cabinets.
Oh, in the bathroom, yeah, okay.
Because I get them fitted before I move in.
But not everybody does. I mean, you can buy a new house.
I do.
Yeah, but you've got special mirrors, don't you? You have to buy them in bulk, the ones that make you look like Brad Pitt when you look at them.
Very funny.
They'll actually show you the real, true image.
There won't be any mirrors in future.
Rubbish.
No, there won't be.
Absolute rubbish.
No, they will be camera images of you projected onto a screen.
What, so when you shave, you'll be shaving into a camera. I bet you can't even do that.
Yes, that's the case.
No, because it'd be a completely different image.
No, that's the case. That's the case. Tiny camera on the wall takes a picture of you and throws it back onto a screen. It won't be a mirror anymore. It'll be a screen.
Well, what happens if the camera breaks down?
Well, you just have to get it fixed. Like you have to get your tap fixed.
What happens when you've got no electricity?
Well, hard luck. You've got a power cut.
Nonsense.
No, it's not nonsense. And the reason being is that because just like HD television so improved figures, then cameras can make the picture so much crystal clear. There won't be any mirrors. There won't be any mirrors.
I don't go along
No,
with
there won't be. There won't be any mirrors in the new homes.
Also,
honestly,
if you know anything about mirrors, particularly the ones that they have in bathrooms above the sink, for example,
excuse me,
how often does it get water splashed on it? How often do you have to clean it? If you had some kind of TV projector screen there, it could have all sorts of things go wrong with it.
I tell you what it's going to do. I tell you exactly what it's going to do. Right?
Yeah.
They will get so sophisticated that these cameras will detect skin problems. Okay.
What?
Skin problems. So, like, you've got a bit of eczema or something like that.
They'll never let you out of the house then, will they?
No, hang on, don't be rude.
Rude?
They will detect...
This is coming from the guy who calls me a fat fool.
That they could even detect cancer of the skin and this kind of stuff. This is how good they're going to be.
Really?
Women standing in front of a mirror now, a full-length mirror, it won't be a mirror anymore, it'll be these cameras, but these cameras will actually have a voice box which will tell her whether she looks good or not in the outfit she's just put on.
That doesn't sound right.
No, it is absolutely right.
That doesn't sound like a good idea.
It is absolutely right.
It's a recipe for disaster.
No, it's not a recipe for disaster because that's what they're going to be. They're not going to be mirrors in future. They're going to be analytical screens.
Right, so how's it going to work if it's going to tell you whether you look good or not? Who's going to... it must have various settings because, I mean, obviously, the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. However, for example, if it's looking at you, you'd have to temper it a bit, wouldn't you? Because you'd never look... as far as... If it was a thing that was only saying you look good, if you really do look good, you would never look good. It would never tell you look good.
No. It's all about expectation, all that kind of stuff. It's nothing like that at all. What you do is you have to have an acceptance of your own form, right? And you say to the mirror, OK, I know I'm a bit bulky and all that, but does this blazer look good on me? The mirror will speak back to you.
Well, you would love it, because it's like having a proper mate, isn't it? You can actually have somebody to talk to in the house.
Ridiculous, don't be ridiculous.
And then you can have somebody to talk to in the car. It'd be great. You wouldn't have to worry about having any friends at all.
The screen, because I'm not using the word mirror anymore, because there won't be any mirrors, the screen will say to you something like, "A double-breasted jacket does not suit your figure."
Well, I'd rather hope that they might be a bit more sophisticated with the voice than that.
Something like that. Or it might say, because you know when you put a pair of trousers on, you can only see those trousers by looking down at them. So you think they fall nicely.
You could look in a mirror.
They fall nicely from your hips.
Look in a mirror.
No. But you see the same image in a mirror because you are naturally brainwashed into thinking they look good. But the screen...
look into a full-length mirror
the screen...
see what they look like.
The screen will say... Your trousers do not fit comfortably across your hips, and they are too long, and too much of the back of your trouser.
That's like Nigel Botherway.
Is over the back of your shoe and scraping on the ground. It'd be something like that.
Well, now it's Jeffrey Boycott.
Sorry?
No, it's Jeffrey Boycott.
Not Jeffrey Boycott. It's not Jeffrey Boycott, you know.
You could have Brian Clough talking to you.
Sorry?
Listen, young man, you could have Brian Clough talking to you.
By the way, talking about Nigel Botherway.
Yeah.
That was on Clips of the Week on Friday.
It was, yeah.
That was the funniest thing
funny.
I've ever heard on radio.
Hello, Marsh.
Yeah. Marshy, you there, Marsh?
Hello, Marsh. That was brilliant.
It was brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant.
Absolutely loved it.
Now,
so I'm telling you, the mirror's dead.
Oh, rubbish.
It is.
Absolute rubbish.
It is.
Now, here's one from Bob. He says, "Oi, Jelly Belly," I think he's referring to you. He says, "Tommy Docherty is regarded as a hero to United fans. He played great football and beat Liverpool in the 77 FA Cup final."
Yeah, I know that.
Well, so therefore, he's not...
Yeah, but then he got booted out the club for misbehaviour, so he's hardly... And by the way, to my memory, Tommy Docherty now must be about 107.
Well, he's probably quite old.
I mean, you know, and by the way, I'm not knocking him. I've done jobs with Tommy in the past. I've been to dinners with him as recently as 5 years ago.
Really?
He's been compos mentis. But the other thing about the
I'm
mirror...
sure he wouldn't say the same about you.
The other thing about... Yeah, well, I'm going to ignore it. The other thing about the mirror is, with the amount of booze that you drink and the amount of way that
I don't know why you're always accusing me of drinking a load of booze.
You abuse your body. When you look in your screen, as opposed to your mirror the next morning, it will give you a medical analysis of how you're going to feel that day.
Well, it wouldn't let you out of the house, then, would it?
Just by examining your skin, your eyes.
It wouldn't let you out of the house.
The air that's coming out of your mouth will be analysed by filters and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's
Here's
the future.
Becky,
it's the future.
Becky in New Zealand says, "Why didn't Porky have Australia as his loser in winners and losers, with the drop in iron ore prices and volume to China at a certain point?" And finally, I'll give you one that's a plus for you. John Laguna has texted into 81089.
Yep.
He says, "Porky is right for once. Hooray! Good drivers always check their mirrors while they are driving. It's good to know what's around you in case you need to suddenly change direction."
Exactly.
Yeah, but if you're looking at it every minute like some kind of twitcher, that can't be good. Absolutely not.
Not at all.
Now, thank you very much indeed, Mr. Porky. There will be a podcast coming out with myself and Mr. Parry
pretty early
in about 5 hours' time or thereabouts. We'll alert you at
No,
the 2
sooner
mics.
than that. Sooner than that.
Well, you'd have no idea when it's coming.
I
out.
reckon it'll be out about 7:30, 8 o'clock.
No, I don't see you say that,
hope
and
so.
then you raise people's expectations.
Well, I hope it will be. We're working on it to improve the system.
No, you're not working on anything.
Yes, I am.
Anyway, he'll be back at 2 o'clock tomorrow, and it will be time for Parrylosophy, of course, and then it will be Porky Vision and the quiz coming up. We still haven't decided what the quiz is going to be. We'll have to figure that out tomorrow on the show.
Don't forget to come back tomorrow for another sparkling, as fizzy as a bottle of champagne podcast from the 2 mics.